There's a lot of things I didn't expect in this movie, but Gore the God Butcher saying to Thor, "You like Huey Lewis and the News." Their early work was a little too new wave for my taste, but when Sports came out in '83, I think they really came into their own, both commercially and artistically. The whole album has a clear, crisp sound and a new sheen of consummate professionalism that really gives a song a big boost. He's been compared to Elvis Costello, but I think Huey has a far more bitter, cynical sense of humor. Hey, Gore, is that a raincoat? Yes, it is! Hello everyone and welcome to IMRT Reviews. I'm RT and, well, thank you if you made it through that very long intro. I just got carried away and I had to read the entire thing because I love American Psycho and Christian Bale. This will be a non-spoiler review of Thor Love and Thunder, so don't worry, there will be no spoilers in this review, so let's get straight into it. Thor Love and Thunder is the fourth movie in the Thor franchise, and it's the second one directed by Taika Waititi, who is one of my personal favourite directors of all time. I've watched all his work, so I was very excited for this movie, and I was very excited to see Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman back again. So let's talk about this movie. So I've got a few things to say, and I've seen a few complaints about this movie that I feel are unjust. Now, the first big complaint I've seen about this movie is there are too many jokes. Now, right, I know everyone has their personal preference on what they want from a movie, but when you go into a Taika Waititi movie thinking there aren't going to be a lot of jokes, then I don't know what you're expecting, because the man loves a comedy. I mean, I've watched all of his stuff. I've watched Eagle vs. Shark. It's a comedy. It's like a rom-com, like Thor Love and Thunder. I watched Boy. It's a comedy. What We Do in the Shadows, comedy. Thor Ragnarok, pretty much a comedy. This one is going to be the same. So I don't see why people are going in saying there was too many jokes. If you've not seen a Taika Waititi movie, then I get that. But you've probably seen Thor Ragnarok. You've probably seen something else from him. You're going to know that there's a lot of jokes going into this movie. And I don't understand why everything has to be the same as well. You've got this big franchise where you've got so many movies like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which is quite a scary movie. It's a horror movie, at times. You've got the big epic movies like Spider-Man No Way Home. Why don't you break the mold a little bit sometimes, go for a little bit of a different genre, and boom, Thor Love and Thunder, with a rom-com, a comedy, and it's something a bit different, and it breathes a little bit of fresh air into the franchise when they do a change of pace. They bring us something a bit different. So I'm not really seeing this as a complaint. I was a big fan of all the comedy in this movie. I was having a great time. Taika Waititi's humour hits very much with me. I love it so much. So I'm not really understanding these complaints. I don't know what people were expecting. They're not going to go in and see the Batman with Taika Waititi movie. You're going to get a lot of fun comedy. I feel like people are being way too critical about Marvel and Star Wars these days. Like, just go into things wanting to enjoy them. Be positive about things. Yes. Constructive criticism is a good thing. I like constructive criticism. I want to, review movies on this channel and do constructive criticism. But I'm not going to go into a Taika Waititi movie and say there was too many jokes, because that's just silly. That is just silly. So, yeah, maybe it just wasn't for you how many jokes there was in this movie, and then fair enough. But I just don't see that as a complaint. But let's talk about some of the positives, because there are a lot with this movie. The first big positive with this movie is the main man himself, Taika Waititi. He's one of my favourite directors in the world for a reason. His handprint is all over this movie. You can tell he was having a fun time. I love how unique his movies are, and the soundtrack for this movie, whew, I loved it. November Rain is one of my favourite guitar solos of all time, or has one of my favourite guitar solos, and hearing that on the big screen was epic. I was like, that's November Rain, and everything on screen was epic, and it just suited the song. It was amazing. I loved it. Everything on screen, beautiful. As always with Taika Waititi movies, the cinematography is stunning, and he has these incredible moments where he's like James Gunn, where he knows how to craft a very emotional and serious moment all around the comedy. And when the movie wants to hit home, it hits home and it hits well. I've seen some people saying, "Oh, there's too many jokes in the serious moments." I don't see that. When it wanted to hit home, it did, and I did get my feels a little bit. I didn't cry, so I did feel good about that. But yeah, Taika Waititi, one of the best directors going today. The next two big positives were two of the main characters, which was Gore and Jane Foster. Now we'll talk about Gore first. He was an incredible villain. Like, he felt like Voldemort meets the Joker. He's very charismatic, he's very sinister, he's very creepy, and he was a presence when he was on screen. I wish we got a little more of him. By the time that we did spend with him, I loved every second, and seeing Christian Bale in the MCU was epic. He did a fantastic job. He was probably one of my favourite MCU villains. I think Thanos is probably my favourite, and if they... Oh, Kingpin's basically in the MCU now, and then there's probably Kingpin. Actually, no, Kingpin then Thanos. I'm not sure, actually. I've got to think about that. But yes, Gore is one of my favourite MCU villains. Now, let's talk about Jane. They've done something amazing with her in this movie. They could have gone, look, she's Jane Foster, she's the mighty Thor now, and that's it. But they went a step further than that. They made her vulnerable. We made a connection with her because of how well written she was in this movie. They could have just made her amazing, fantastic, more powerful than Thor and just had it like that. No. Taika Waititi knows how to craft a character, and he did a lot of heavy lifting that the previous movies should have done themselves. We felt the connection between Thor and her, and it was really emotional in this film. I loved seeing all the moments with them. Some of it was played off for comedy, but also some of it was very emotional. Seeing, Thor and Jane spend time together and seeing some of their past was amazing. I think Jane as the mighty Thor worked unbelievably well, and I was very satisfied watching it. There's also a really epic moment with the mighty Thor in this movie that I think is going to be extremely inspiring to a lot of children, where Gore says, "Lady Thor," and then she goes, "No, I'm the mighty Thor," and it was an amazing line. And I know someone's going to go, "Oh, I really didn't like that line for some weird reason," and shush, shut up. It was amazing, and it put a smile on my face, as I'm sure it will put a smile on a lot of other people's faces. It was awesome. Now to talk about the big man himself. I say big man because Chris Hemsworth is huge in this movie. I mean, he is massive. The man is a god. I want his workout routine because he looks huge and ripped. He is literally the god of thunder, and it doesn't end there. He's a fantastic actor. He's great when it comes to comedy. He had me laughing so much. He just brings so much charisma to the role, and it's just like big dumb idiot vibes, where he's not actually a big dumb idiot. He just wants to fit in, and I just loved it. I loved every single moment with him on the screen. It makes me chuckle so much, and I love Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I want to see more of him. He's so good as the character. He's epic, and seeing like the little interactions between him and the Guardians as well was amazing. I was cracking up. I love the Guardians, so I'm always going to be biased. I loved it. Give me more Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Now, this film isn't perfect though. There are two minor issues that I do have with the movie, and one is the tone. Obviously, there's lots of jokes in this movie, as I previously said and defended, because it is a Taika Waititi movie, so when it does get a little bit more dark with gore and stuff like that, it is a little bit of change tonally, and it's quite a big change that I'm not sure meshed together perfectly, but it wasn't too big of an issue where it was just like a different movie. But it did stand out a little bit at times. The other thing is the runtime. I feel like it needed an extra 15 minutes at least, and that could have been Gore time, a little bit more time with the villain, and I would have really appreciated that. There are only two minor issues that I had with this movie. I had a lot of fun with this film. People saying that, the Marvel franchise is meh, whatever. People not liking Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness, and people forgetting that Spider-Man No Way Home came out literally last year. Shush. Marvel is going strong. Star Wars is going strong. Kenobi was cool. I'm having a fun time with this franchise still. Make sure you check this one out. That is my recommendation. Check this one out at the cinema with the biggest speakers possible, because the soundtrack is epic on the biggest screen possible, because you need to fit in all of that. Chris Hemsworth is huge. I'm not as big as Chris Hemsworth. I asked for his workout routine, but there's no way. I've got all these movies to watch. Sorry, I'm not going to be getting that big. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I do recommend seeing this one on the big screen, especially if you are a Marvel fan, or a Thor fan, or a Chris Hemsworth fan, or, like me, a Taika Waititi fan. If you did enjoy this review, please give it a like, please subscribe. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this movie. And as always, I will see you next time.